Hello, this is Bruce from My Dear Mandarin. In this video, we are going to be looking at all Chinese phonetic alphabets, also called Zhu-yin. After that, we are going to look at different tones for Mandarin. Keep in mind that different tones could be the same Zhu-yin combination and completely opposite meaning. There are a total of 37 Zhu-yins in Mandarin and are usually separated into three parts. The initials, also called shen mu, the middle sounds, also called qie yin, and the finals, also called yun mu. We'll use the Zhu-yin keyboard as it will give you a better idea of where all the different parts are located. First, the initials that are on the left side of the keyboard, usually these are the first Zhu-yin in a combination. Then, there are the three middle sounds. As you could probably tell by the name, it acts as a connector between the initials and the finals that we'll mention later on in the video. Lastly, the finals on the right side of the keyboard, usually these are the last Zhu-yin in a combination. Now, let me introduce you the 37 Zhu-yins in order. B, B, P, P, M, M, F, F, D, D, T, T, N, N, L, L, G, G, K, K, H, H, G, G, Qi, Qi, Xi, Xi, Zhi, Zhi, Shi, Chi, Shi, Shi, Ri, Ri, Zi, Zi, Ci, Ci, Si, Si, I, I, U, U, Ü, Ü, A, O, O, E, I, Ao, O, An, N, Ang, Eng, After the Zhu-yins, we are going to talk about the tones. As we mentioned in the intro, tones are also an important part of Mandarin. There are 5 tones in Mandarin, tones 1 through 4, and a light tone as the last one. The first tone is a flat tone, which means it doesn't have a particular sound to it. For example, B, A, Ba. You can see from this example that the only sound of this combination is from the Zhu-yins themselves. The second tone is an upward tone, which means the pitch of the sound goes up with the tone. For example, B, A, Ba. You could compare the difference with the first tone and you'll see that the combination sound pitch is rising upward. The third tone is slightly more complicated since it has both upward and downward pitches in the same tone. We'll explain this through an example. B, A, Ba. At first, the pitch goes downward and then makes an upward turn just like its symbol. The fourth tone is the opposite to the second sound because it's a downward tone. For example, B, A, Ba. There's only a downward pitch to the combination. The last one is the light tone. It's like the asterisk sound in English. We'll use the same combination as the example, B, A, Ba. The pronunciation is kind of similar to the first sound, but actually it's got a slightly softer and lighter tone to it. Today we are only going to be looking at Zhu-yin's B to F. So if you want to gain more insight, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more weekly Mandarin content. You could roughly separate the Zhu-yin keyboard into three parts. The initials, which are on the left side of the keyboard, are like consonants in English. The middle sound, which you could probably tell by the name, is sandwiched between the initials and the finals. Lastly, the finals on the right side of the keyboard, which are like vowels in English. Today we are only going to be looking at Zhu-yin's b to f, which are all located on the left side of the keyboard. The Zhu-yin b has a similar sound to the English letter B. The only difference is that the Zhu-yin b has a slightly longer sound than the English letter B. Now we are going to go through some combinations starting with the Zhu-yin b. Learning Mandarin is just like learning any other language. Practice makes perfect. So there's going to be a brief pause after each combination for you to rehearse what you just learned. So just read along as we move on. So let's get started. B, E, B, B, E, B. Now we are going to add in the tones. B, E, B, B, E, B, which means pen in Mandarin. Okay, we are going to move on to our next combination. B, U, Bu, B, U, Bu. And again, we are going to add in the tones. B, U, Bu, B, U, Bu, which means no. Okay, then we are going to look at the last combination for the Zhu-yin b, b, a, ba, b, a, ba. Okay, we are going to add in the tones. B, a, ba, b, a, ba, 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 which means father in Mandarin. Moving on to the next one. The Zhu-yin p has a similar sound to the English letter P. You could mimic the sound of the English letter P and make it slightly longer, then you will get the sound of the Zhu-yin p. And now we are going to try some combinations for the Zhu-yin p. P, E, P, P, E, P. Okay, we are going to add in the tones. P, E, P, F, U, Fu, P, Fu, meaning skin in Mandarin. Okay, we are going to move on to the second one. P, U, Pu, P, U, Pu. Now again, we are going to add in the tones. P, U, Pu, T, Ao, Tao, Pu, Tao, meaning grape in Mandarin. Okay, moving to the last one of the Zhu-yin P. P, A, Pa, P, A, Pa. Okay, again, adding in the tones. P, I, Hai, P, A, Pa, Hai, Pa, meaning afraid in Mandarin. Next up is the Zhu-yin M. The Zhu-yin M has a similar sound to the English letter M, and just like the previous two, the pronunciation method is identical. So we're going to move on to our combinations. The first combination is M, E, Mi, M, E, Mi. And now we are going to add in the tones. M, Ao, Mao, M, E, Mi, Mao, Mi, meaning kitten in Mandarin. Okay, the second one is M, I, My, M, I, My. Okay, we are going to add in the tones as well. M, I, My, meaning by in Mandarin. Okay, this is the last combination for the Zhu-yin me, me, a, ma, me, a, ma. Now we are going to add in the tones. Me, a, ma, me, a, ma, meaning mother in Mandarin. The last Zhu-yin for today is the Zhu-yin fe, which has a similar sound to the English letter F, and the pronunciation method is just the same as the previous three that we mentioned today. So we are going to move right into our combinations for the Zhu-yin fe, an, fang, an, fang, and we are going to add in the tones. An, fang, zi, fang, zi, meaning house in Mandarin. The next one is fu, fu. Again, we are going to add in the tones. Pi, fu, meaning skin in Mandarin. Okay, this is the last combination for the Zhu-yin a, fa, and adding in the tones. Fa, meaning hair in Mandarin. We are going to continue our theme with Chinese phonetic alphabets, and we'll be looking at Zhu-yin's de to le for this video. We are going to start with a quick review of what we learned from our last video. We will continue to use the Zhu-yin keyboard as it gives you a general idea of where all the Zhu-yins are. On the far left side are the Zhu-yins be to fe that we mentioned in our previous video. We'll go through some combinations that we learned. Keep in mind that tones are equally as important as the Zhu-yins themselves, so try to mimic the pronunciation as closely as possible. Bi, bi, ao, pao, ma, fu. Now, with our review out of the way, let's learn some new Zhu-yins. They are right next to what we just learned and our initials as well. Let's start from the top and work our way to the bottom. The Zhu-yin de has a similar sound to the English letter D. The only difference is that Zhu-yin de has a slightly longer sound than the English letter D. Now we are going to try out some combinations starting with the Zhu-yin de. You are encouraged to read along as we go through the combinations. There will also be time for you to practice and rehearse what we just learned, so don't get too nervous when you fall behind. The first combination for the Zhu-yin de is de, I, D, de, I, D. And now we are going to add in the tones. Te, wu, tu, de, I, di, tu, di, meaning land in Mandarin. Okay, our next one is going to be de, u, du, de, u, du, and adding in the tones. Yu, e, yue, de, wu, du, yue, du, meaning read in Mandarin. This is going to be the last one for the Zhu-yin de, de, a, da, de, a, da. Now adding in the tones. 机遇巨大巨大 meaning huge in Mandarin. Moving on to the next one, the 注音 t has a similar sound to the English letter T. You could mimic the sound of the English letter T and make it slightly longer, and then you'll get the 注音 t. Now we are going to go through some combinations, so just follow our trail as we move on. The first combination for the 注音 t is t, e, t, t, e, t, and now adding in the tones. L, o, lo, k, e, t, lo, t, meaning stairs in Mandarin. Next one is going to be t, u, tu, t, u, tu, and now adding in the tones. T, u, tu, d, e, d, tu, d, meaning land in Mandarin. The last combination for the 注音 t is t, a, ta, t, a, ta. Now adding in the tones. Qi, yi, qi, t, a, ta, qi, ta, meaning other in Mandarin. The 注音 n has a similar sound to the English letter n. The concept here is identical as the previous ones, so we are going to spend more time and effort on the combinations and the tones instead of the individual 注音. The first combination for the 注音 n is n, i, ni, n, i, ni, adding in the tones. N, i, ni, b, a, ba, ni, ba, meaning mud in Mandarin. Next up is going to be n, u, nu, n, u, nu, adding in the tones. N, u, nu, l, i, li, nu, li, meaning effort in Mandarin. The last combination for the 注音 n is n, a, na, n, a, na, adding in the tones. N, a, na, qi, yu, qu, na, qu, meaning take in Mandarin. The last 注音 for today is going to be the 注音 l, which has a similar sound to the English letter L. Sticking with the principle like the previous three, you could probably guess how to pronounce the 注音 l, which is a long L sound. And now let's go through our last combinations for today. The first combination for the 注音 l is l, i, li, l, i, li, and now adding in the tones. L, i, li, m, ao, mao, li, mao, meaning manners in Mandarin. Next one is going to be l, u, lu, l, u, lu, now adding in the tones. M, a, ma, l, u, lu, ma, lu, meaning road in Mandarin. The last combination for the 注音 l is l, a, la, l, a, la. Okay, now we're gonna add in the tones. L, a, la, ji, yao, jiao, la, jiao, meaning chili pepper in Mandarin. In episode 3 of our Zhu-yin series, we are going to be looking at Zhu-yin's ge to he, and also some of the Zhu-yins that we've covered on the channel in previous videos. Let's start with a quick review of our previous video. Just like the first 2 episodes, we will continue to use the Zhu-yin keyboard as it gives you a general idea of where all the Zhu-yins are. The 2 rows on the left side are the Zhu-yins bo to le that we mentioned in our previous videos. We'll go through some combinations that we learned as a warm-up for today's episode. Keep in mind, the tones are equally as important as the Zhu-yin combinations themselves, so try to mimic the pronunciation as closely as possible. De, I, di, de, I, di. Te, u, tu, te, u, tu. Ne, a, na, ne, a, na. Le, I, li, le, I, li. Now, with our review out of the way, let's learn some new Zhu-yins. We are going to start from the top and work our way to the bottom. The Zhu-yin ge has a similar sound to the English letter G. The only difference is that the Zhu-yin ge has a slightly longer sound than the English letter G. Now we are going to try out some combinations starting with the Zhu-yin ge. You are encouraged to read along as we move through the combinations. There's going to be a brief pause after every combination for you to practice what you just learned. So, don't get too nervous if you lose track. Just follow our pace and things should get better video by video. The first combination for the Zhu-yin ge is ge, ge, ge. Now we are going to add in the tones. Ge, shi, o, shou, ge, shou, meaning singer in Mandarin. Next up is going to be ge, u, gu, ge, u, gu, adding in the tones. De, a, da, ge, wu, gu, da, gu, meaning drum in Mandarin. The last combination for the Zhu-yin ge is ge, a, ga, ge, a, ga. Now we are going to add in the tones. Ge, an, gan, ge, a, ga, gan, ga, meaning awkward in Mandarin. Moving on to the next one, the Zhu-yin ke has a similar sound to the English letter K. You could mimic the sound of the English letter K and make it slightly longer, and then you will get this Zhu-yin ke. Now, we are going to go through some combinations and be sure to also mimic the sounds of the tones as well. The first combination for the Zhu-yin ke is ke, o, ko, ke, o, ko. Now we are going to add in the tones. Ke, o, ko, ke, ke, ko, ke, meaning thirsty in Mandarin. Next up is going to be ke, u, ku, ke, u, ku. Now adding in the tones. Ke, u, ku, qi, yi, qi, ku, qi, meaning to cry in Mandarin. The last combination for the Zhu-yin ke is ke, a, ka, ke, a, ka. Now adding in the tones. Ke, a, ka, fe, a, fe, Cafe, meaning coffee in Mandarin. The last Zhu-yin for this episode is the Zhu-yin he. Sticking with the same principle as the previous two that we learned so far, you could probably guess how he is pronounced, which is a long H sound. Now we are going to move to the combinations, starting with the Zhu-yin he. The first combination for the Zhu-yin he is he, an, han, he, an, han. Now we are going to add in the tones. De, a, da, he, an, han, da, han, meaning to shout in Mandarin. Next up is he, u, hu, he, u, hu. Now adding in the tones. He, u, hu, xi, yu, xu, hu, xu, meaning whiskers in Mandarin. The last combination for the Zhu-yin he is he, ao, hao, he, ao, hao. Now adding in the tones. He, en, hen, he, ao, hao, hen, hao, meaning great in Mandarin. In this episode of our Zhu-yin series, we are going to be looking at Zhu-yin's ji to xi, and also review some of the Zhu-yins that we have covered in our previous video. Let's start with a quick review of our previous video. Just like the previous videos, we will start with the Zhu-yin keyboard as it gives you a general idea of where the Zhu-yins we're about to learn are. The first 3 rows starting from the left side are the Zhu-yins ge to he that we mentioned in our previous videos. We'll go through some of the combinations that we learned as a warm-up for today's episode. Just remember the tones are equally as important as the Zhu-yin combinations themselves, so try to mimic the pronunciation as closely as possible. Ge, u, gu, ge, u, gu, ke, a, ka, ke, a, ka, he, an, han, he, an, han. Now, with our review out of the way, let's learn some new Zhu-yins. The first Zhu-yin for today is the Zhu-yin ji. The Zhu-yin ji has a similar sound to the English combination ji. The only difference is you can take the English combination ji and make it slightly longer, then you will get the sound of the Zhu-yin ji. Now we are going to try out some combinations starting with the Zhu-yin ji. Just like the previous videos, there's going to be time for you to practice every combination, and feel free to pause the video if you want more practice. The first combination for the Zhu-yin ji is ji, yu, ju, ji, yu, ju. Now adding in the tones. Ji, yu, ju, zhi, wu, zhu, ju, zhu, meaning to live in Mandarin. Next up is going to be ji, yi, ji, ji, yi, ji. Now adding in the tones. Ji, yi, ji, shi, che, ji, che, meaning scooter in Mandarin. Next up, the Zhu-yin qi has a similar sound to the English combination ch, but keep in mind that the English combination ch doesn't get you the full sound of the Zhu-yin qi, so pay close attention to the combinations starting with the Zhu-yin qi. The first combination for the 注音 qi is qi, yi, qi, qi, yi, qi. Now we are going to add in the tones. yi, o, yo, qi, yi, qi, yo, qi, meaning paint in Mandarin. The next one is going to be qi, yu, qu, qi, yu, qu. Now we are going to add in the tones. qi, yu, qu, yu, qu, yu, meaning area in Mandarin. The last 注音 for today is going to be the 注音 xi. The 注音 xi has a similar sound to the English combination ci, but please keep in mind that the sound of ci didn't give you the full sound of the 注音 xi. So pay close attention as we go through the combination, starting with the 注音 xi. The first combination for the 注音 xi is xi, yu, xu. xi, yu, xu. Now we are going to add in the tones. xi, yu, xu, yi, ao, yao, xu, yao, meaning needs in Mandarin. Next one is going to be xi, yi, xi, xi, yi, xi. Now we are going to add in the tones. xi, yi, xi, yi, ang, yang, xi, yang, meaning sunset in Mandarin. In today's episode of our 注音 series, we are going to be looking at 注音 zhi, 注之, and also review some of the 注音 that we have learned from our previous video. Let's start with a quick review of our previous video. Just like the previous videos, we will start with the 注音 keyboard as it gives you a general idea of where the 注音 we're about to learn are. The first 4 rows, starting from the left side, are the 注音 that we mentioned in our previous videos. We'll go through some combinations that we learned as a warm-up for today's episode. Just remember, the tones are equally as important as the 注音 combinations themselves, so try to mimic the pronunciation as closely as possible. 鸡, yu, 菊, 鸡, yu, 菊, 七, yu, 区, 七, yu, 区, 西, yi, 细, 西, yi, 细. Now, with our review out of the way, let's learn some new 注音. The 注音 zhi has a similar sound to the English combination zh. The only difference is that the 注音 zhi has a slightly flat and longer sound than the English combination zh. Now we are going to look at some combinations starting with the 注音 zhi. Just like in previous episodes, there's going to be time for you to practice each combination. Feel free to pause the video for extra practice. The first combination for the 注音 zhi is 支, 乌, 猪, 支, 乌, 猪. Now we are going to add in the tones. 支, 支, 乌, 猪, 支, 猪, meaning spider in Mandarin. Next up is going to be 知, 安, 占, 知, 安, 占. Now adding in the tones. 吃, 车, 知, 安, 站, 车, 站, meaning station in Mandarin. The last one for the 注音 zhi is 知, ang, zhang, zhi, ang, zhang. Now we are going to add in the tones as well. Zhi, ang, zhang, he, ao, hao, zhang, hao, meaning account in Mandarin. Next up, Zhu-yin chi has a similar sound to the English combination CHI. You can mimic the sound of the English combination CHI and make it slightly longer, and you will get the sound of the Zhu-yin chi. Now we are going to go through some combinations starting with the Zhu-yin chi. Remember to mimic the sound of the tones as well, as they are as important as the Zhu-yin combinations themselves. The first combination for the Zhu-yin chi is shi, shi. Now we are going to add in the tones. Shi, te, ang, tang, chi, tang, meaning pond in Mandarin. Next up is going to be shi, u, chu, chi, u, chu. Now we are going to add in the tones. Chi, u, chu, shi, chu, shi, meaning cook in Mandarin. The last combination for the Zhu-yin shi is shi, ang, chang, shi, ang, chang, adding in the tones. Ji, yi, ji, shi, ang, chang, ji, chang, meaning airport in Mandarin. Next, the Zhu-yin shi has a similar sound to the English combination sh. You can mimic the sound of the English combination sh and make it slightly longer, then you will get the Zhu-yin shi. Now we are going to go through some combinations starting with the Zhu-yin shi. Just read along as we move on. The first combination for the Zhu-yin shi is shi, u, shu, shi, u, shu. Now adding in the tones. Shi, u, shu, b, en, ben, shu, ben, meaning books in Mandarin. Next up is going to be shi, ao, shao, shi, ao, shao, adding in the tones. Zhi, an, ran, shi, ao, shao, ran, shao, meaning burn in Mandarin. The last one for the Zhu-yin shi is shi, an, shan, shi, an, shan. Now adding in the tones. Shi, an, shan, me, ai, mai, shan, mai, meaning mountains in Mandarin. The last Zhu-yin for this episode is going to be the Zhu-yin zhi. It has a similar sound to the English letter R. The only difference is that you have to put more emphasis on the English letter R, then you will get the sound of the Zhu-yin zhi. Now let's go through the last of the combinations, starting with the Zhu-yin zhi. The first combination for the Zhu-yin zhi is zhi, u, ru, zhi, u, ru. Now add in the tones. Zhi, u, ru, ke, o, kou, ru, kou, meaning entrance in Mandarin. Next up is going to be zhi, o, rou, zhi, o, rou, adding in the tones. Zhi, u, zhu, 日哦肉猪肉 meaning pork in Mandarin. The last combination for the Zhu-yin R is R, R. Now add in the tones. I, an, yan, R, yan, meaning hot in Mandarin.